Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Fnatic, and I'm back with another video. So today I'm going to be doing my NFL quarterbacks tier list. This has been a big trend on YouTube over the past couple days, and I did a top 10 list on quarterbacks, I believe, last Saturday. So I figured I might as well do a tier list today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the S means great, A means good, B means a little bit above average, C means a little bit below average, D is bad, and F is terrible. So without further ado, boys, let's go ahead and get into it. So Josh Allen, I'm going to have him be a D for right now. He's not amazing, but he's not bad. He's made some progress, but I believe he still has a long way to go before he can be great. Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to put him at S. He was really, really good last year. In his, I guess you could call it rookie year, really sophomore year. But his first year starting, he was incredible. Probably the best QB in the league last year. So Ryan Tannehill, former Dolphins starting quarterback, now the Titans backup. So there will be a couple backups on this list. I believe like somewhere between 3 and 5 on this list. But let's continue on. Nick Foles, I'm going to put him at a little bit below average. I'm not as high on him as everybody else is. A lot of people are really high on Nick Foles. I just don't see it. I mean, yeah, he made a couple nice miracle runs, but I believe once he really gets on the Dolphins and gets on a below-average team, he will not succeed at the level that he did on the Eagles. So on to another backup. I don't know why C.J. Beathard's on this list, but he is. I mean, where am I going to put him besides F? I mean, he's not good. And Brock Osweiler, same thing. So a couple backups out of the way. So back to the starters again. Lamar Jackson, I'm going to put in the C tier list with Nick Foles. I mean, I have a lot of concerns about Lamar Jackson. One, he can't really throw the football, so not great. He can run it, but that's for a running back's job, not a quarterback's job. So on to Jimmy G, I'm going to put him at B. I think from a talent perspective, you could possibly make an argument that he's an A, but you have all the concerns like injury, and he really hasn't proven himself that much yet. So I'm going to put him at B for right now. So we have our second S on the list, as I'm going to put Drew Brees up there with Patrick Mahomes in the S. He's kind of aging, not that great. He's not as good as he used to be. His arm's getting weaker and weaker by the season. But he's still so accurate and such a good leader, I can't help but put him at S. So on to Case Keenum, I was going back and forth between F and D, but I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in at D. He's a good backup, below average starting quarterback, so he's mediocre at starting quarterback, so I feel like D is the right spot for him. So going to Eli Manning, it's going to make Giants fans a lot of mad, but he's our first starter to be in the F category. He's just so old, he's not very good anymore, and I feel like it would be in the best interest for the Giants just to move off him and keep him as a leader. Even if Daniel Jones isn't great, I feel like he'd still be better than Eli Manning. So moving on to Matthew Stafford, I'm going to put him at C. I think he's about average. I think he's a little bit below average just because the Lions have been really, really mediocre for many, many years, and that's not all his fault. But it's, kind of his fault, and he needs to take some blame for that. So on to Deshaun Watson, I'm going to put him in the B list. He's a better passer than Lamar Jackson, about the same type of runner. He's just a little bit of a better passer than Lamar Jackson. That's why I put him at B instead of C. On to Derek Carr. I am not a believer in Derek Carr in the slightest, so I'm going to put him at D, along with Case Keenum and Josh Allen. I think he's extremely overrated. I don't think he has a very good arm, and I don't particularly think he's all that accurate either. So moving on to Andrew Luck. I'm going to put him at A. He's our first A quarterback. Not quite as good as the S. Maybe from a talent perspective, you can make an argument that he's an S, but, you have the injury concerns, and he's been injured for so long in his career, I can't really put him at S, but I feel like he's too talented to be put below an A. So on to Baker Mayfield. I'm really, really high on Baker Mayfield. I loved him coming out of the draft, and this may be some Baker bias coming out. But since he proved me right this season, and I got to brag to everybody that I got it right, I'm putting him at A. I really, really like Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to be exceptional in this league. There are some minor off-the-field concerns. I don't think they're serious, as some people say, but they do deserve to be mentioned. So Big Ben is kind of like low S or high A. I'm going to put him at low S just out of respect for him and everything that he's done for the Steelers franchise over the years. I don't love Big Ben. I had him, I believe, as my 6th ranked quarterback, but he's still just good enough to get into the S category. Moving on to Cam Newton. People aren't gonna like this, but I'm gonna put him C. I'm gonna put him C. I was tempted to put him D. He's kind of like Lamar Jackson, not very good at throwing the football, but decent at running the football. He's a bad locker room presence, not a fabulous leader. And I just don't think he's the guy that's going to lead the Panthers into the promised land. And he had a chance a couple years ago, but didn't take advantage of it. So Mitchell Trubisky, I'm putting him in the C category. I would love to put him in B, but he's just not a developed passer enough yet. He found a way to get it done last season with decent play, whether it was running or great play calling, or maybe once in a while he'd bust out a pretty good pass. But he was barely able to survive last season with the Bears, and he was on a great team last season with the Bears. So I feel like it'd be a little overrated to put him higher than a C, but I can't really put him lower than a C either. So on Carson Wentz, I'm going to put him in the B bracket, kind of similar to Jimmy Garoppolo. Maybe from a talent perspective, he might be an A, but you have the injury concerns, and he wasn't amazing last season, so I feel like B's right about where he should be. He's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback. On Jameis Winston, D. He's shown flashes of being good, but he just hasn't reached his potential in the slightest. He's had off-the-field concerns, and whenever he's been on the field, he hasn't been exactly amazing. He's been decent, not amazing. So on to Sam Darnold, I'm going to put him either C or B. You know what, I'm going to put him at B because he's surrounded by a really good team, and he showed a lot of flashes of being very, very good last year. I wasn't super high on Sam Darnold coming out of the draft. He proved me wrong last season. He impressed last season, even though it wasn't perfect. I feel like he'll kind of be like Carson Wentz. He'll have some injury concerns, but he'll have the talent to get it done. So Blake Bortles, S, no questions asked. 5 Super Bowls over the past 3 years. I believe he reached 7,000 yards this season, 8,000 yards last season. So there is that concern that he is down by 1,000 yards. But he's a fan favorite. I have his jersey. I'm pretty sure everybody has his jersey. Blake Bortles is an S. So on to Andy Dalton. I'm probably going to put him... I'll put him D. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt since he's been average over his career. He's definitely dipped over the past couple of years, but I feel like he's been good enough to barely sneak into the D and get out from the F. So Russell Wilson, I'm going to put him up with the S. Even though he doesn't deserve to be up there with Blake Bortles, but nobody really does, so I guess I have to put him up there with him. But Russell Wilson, on a serious note, has been a very, very good quarterback his entire career. He's been carrying the Seahawks franchise on his back with a model personality. He's the leader that everybody wants on their football team, and he's just been fabulous. So Russell Wilson is an S. It's Marcus Mariota. Maybe from a talent perspective, you can make an argument for B, but of course you have the injury concerns, and he's been wildly inconsistent. I do love Marcus Mariota. He's my quarterback. He's my guy, but I can't put him any higher than C just because of how inconsistent he's been in terms of health and skill over the past couple of years. So Aaron Rodgers, much like Big Ben, sneaks into the S bracket. I'm not as high on Aaron Rodgers as everybody else is, but I still believe he's good enough to be in the S bracket because of everything that he's done the past couple of years. So Jared Goff is an A. He's not quite good enough to be an S because he was pretty inconsistent towards the end of the year last year, but he played like an S for a decent portion of the year last year. He did impress me in some aspects, so I am going to put him at A for right now. Joe Flacco, strong arm Joe Flacco. He's a D. which you can tell is not elite. He is not an elite quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's not an average quarterback. He is a bad quarterback. He's not terrible, but he is bad. I think he is a below average starting quarterback. I think the backup role suits him best. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fitzmagic, an F. Fitzmagic is a fun player because he'll have like 2 random games where he goes off and is like the best quarterback in the league. But then, he'll dip down and go back to his mediocre Fitzpatrick ways. So as much as I don't want to put him in F, I have to. So Josh Rosen is a D. He sneaks into the D bracket. I feel like he has the potential to be like a B. But for right now, for what he did last season, I can't really put him any higher than a D, if that makes sense, because he was mediocre last season with the Cardinals. Who is this? I don't know who this is. I'm probably looking like an idiot, but I don't know who this is. So I'm just going to put him in the F. Wait, is that Nick Mullins? That might be Nick Mullins. I don't know what he looks like, but it might be Nick Mullins. If it is Nick Mullins, I'll put him in D. If it's not, I'll put him in F. So I'm just going to go and say that it's Nick Mullins, and I'll put him in D. Nick Mullins was decent last year. He had a great game against the Raiders, and he was pretty average for the rest of the season. Matt Ryan, I'm higher on Matt Ryan than a lot of other people, so I'm going to put him in A. This is going to shock and make people mad. So a lot of Atlanta fans don't like Matt Ryan for some reason, probably because he's been sort of inconsistent over his career. He hasn't reached his true potential, which I believe he can be an S if he did reach his full potential, but I just don't think he's going to. I don't think it's in the cards for Matt Ryan. So I feel like A is a nice spot to put him at, though. Alex Smith has a noodle for an arm, but he's a decent game manager, so he's able to sneak into the D bracket. Dak Prescott, C. I feel like he's kind of like a Lamar Jackson and Cam Newton guy, except a little bit better passer than that. I'll put him at B. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll put him at B. He's a little bit better passer than Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson with the running ability that those two have, so I put him on a little bit higher spectrum, and I put him at a B. So Tom Brady, S, obviously. Do I have to say anything else? Kirk Cousins, he's decent. He's a below-average QB, a good 1 o'clock QB to have, but whenever it's in the big game and primetime games, he just doesn't come through. So Phillip Rivers, I'm kind of like teetering on the edge of B and A. I'll put him in A since I think he's a little bit better than Matt Ryan. Same situation with Matt Ryan. I don't feel like he'll ever get out of Drew Brees' shadow, and he really hasn't reached his full potential. But he's been solid across his career, so I feel like I kind of have to put him in the A bracket. So a quick recap. In the S bracket, Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, the greatest quarterback of all time, Blake Bortles, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. A bracket, people that were almost there but not quite, Andrew Luck, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Matt Ryan, and Phillip Rivers. B bracket, people that have potential but not quite there, Jimmy Garoppolo, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott. Your average QBs, Nick Foles, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Marcus Mariota, Mitchell Trubisky, Cam Newton, and Kirk Cousins. Your mediocre bad QBs, Josh Allen, Case Keenum, Derek Carr, Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Joe Flacco, Josh Rosen, Alex Smith, and I believe Nick Mullins. I'll look like an idiot if it's not. I'm just hoping it is. Then your outright terrible quarterbacks, Ryan Tannehill, Brock Osweiler, C.J. Beathard, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Eli Manning. 4 of those are backups. Eli's the only starter on there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tier maker list. If you guys did, make sure to slap a like on it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, have an amazing day. Peace.